What do you say about the chat saying that you can't pull a black woman?
I'll say, why would I? You could have them, bro. They'll sit there and they'll say, oh, you can't handle me. And I'll say, why the should I? We tell women that they can kind of live their life the way that they want, and there's going to be a good man at the end waiting for them. We have an entire society that tells women, hey, don't do anything for the express consent for a man. You need to put yourself first, not knowing that if you actually want to keep a guy first, you actually have to put yourself second. This is why I tell guys all the time, you got to be the leader, and the girl's got to like you more than you like her. Because since women are the ones used to being pursued, the only time they're going to respect the man is when they're finally pursuing, because they never do that.
What's good to YouTube, man? It's your boy Tuta Woman. Today we back on another reaction video. Today we got my boy Myron off of Fresh and Fit going in on everybody in the chat. Hit that like button, subscribe. But I'm not finna talk y'all ear off. Let's get straight to the video.
What do you say about the chat saying that you can't pull a black woman?
I'll say, why would I? You could have them, bro. They'll sit there and they'll say, oh, you can't handle me. And I'll say, why the should I? We tell women that they can kind of live their life the way that they want, and there's going to be a good man at the end waiting for them. We have an entire society that tells women, hey, don't do anything for the express consent for a man. You need to put yourself first, not knowing that if you actually want to keep a guy first, you actually have to put yourself second. This is why I tell guys all the time, you got to be the leader, and the girl's got to like you more than you like her. Because since women are the ones used to being pursued, the only time they're going to respect the man is when they're finally pursuing, because they never do that.
Do you think that it's best that guys get burned early? Because it seems like once guys get resources and get money, that it really becomes an issue.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
I think early. Once you get money and resources, then she's playing for keeps. Like this girl right now going after Shannon Sharp, she's playing for keeps. So it's like, and they have an incentive to do so. When you're broke and you're a nobody, like, are they incentivized to go after you as hard? Probably not. Then maybe they'll embarrass you in the neighborhood. Oh yeah, weirdo, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. You can move and be fine. But when you got some money and your resources, and this is why it's so bad for young guys. Oh, dude. The young guys that like aren't red pill aware and get some money and status, they get cooked the worst. It's better for you to almost like be broke, make these mistakes as you're coming up, then get the money, understand women, and then you're in a much better position because then you can mitigate the risk, or you already know how to deal with certain women off of how they come at you. You're like, oh yeah, this girl's a thought, I gotta deal with her this way. Okay, this girl, I can maybe let her in a little bit, but like you get that wisdom from failing. You almost gotta fail when you're broke, because you kind of see how you see the real side of females. Like when you don't have all your stuff together, you don't have money like that yet, you really get to see like the dark side of hypergamy. And I think men need to be exposed to that, to see how callous and how cold women can really be when they're not interested in you. Because I truly think like women are much more cold-blooded than men are, way more, especially when they're not interested. Their interest in men drop off precipitously, way faster. They're more likely to end relationships. They're more likely to break your heart without you even knowing about it, because they broke up with you 6 months. They've already been plotting the breakup. So like with women, God. I think men need to experience that, because this kind of insulates you from making those mistakes later on when it's going to cost you significantly more money.
What do you say about the chat saying that you can't pull a black woman?
Ooh.
I'll say, why would I?
Ooh, hold on.
Why would I? You could have them, bro.
Why wouldn't you?
They could have them, man. I'm not competing for LaQuisha. You guys can have them, man.
Not
Every
LaQuisha.
black woman ain't LaQuisha.
Oh my God.
What you mean?
That's look, I'm fucking around. But the when they say dumb shit like that, or you can't pull a black woman, like that's just like cope a lot of the times, because they're saying what that really. Let me decode the stupidity for you. When people say dumb shit like that, translation, you're not willing to tolerate the bad behavior that naturally comes with a lot of black women. Because let's be honest, let's deal with the stereotypes here, right? I'm an open racist towards everybody. Let's deal with the black stereotypes. Black women are fat, loud, crass, annoying, have attitudes, and they don't respect male authority. There's a bunch of reasons for this, but I'll go over simply. The average black woman weighs 187 pounds. A lot of them grow up in a single mother household where they're told every single day, niggas ain't shit. There is no patriarch in the family a lot of the times. This is just what goes on. Then when you listen to the rap music, what are they saying? Fuck niggas, get money, blah, blah, blah. It's just shitting on black men all day. And then the black men that are in their life a lot of the times, not every single time, but a lot of the times, they're criminals, they're fathers that weren't there, they're crooks, and it's just like a never-ending cycle where there's no real patriarch in the household.
I can't lie, my daddy ain't no criminal. You know what I'm saying? My daddy been 10 toes, you feel me? So what y'all think about that? Coming down below, what y'all think? Is Myron making points, or is he OC tweaking right now? Comment down below.
And then on top of that, you know, a lot of black women grow up without men in the house. They end up becoming extremely masculine. Now, this is fantastic when it comes to survival, getting a job, making your way through life. But this is terrible when it comes to attracting masculine men. Masculine men don't want masculine women in return. That would make you probably more than likely gay if you're attracted to yourself, right? And I always use the analogy, because whenever...
That's your lane, Molly.
Because here's the thing with black women, right? They'll sit there and they'll say, oh, you can't handle me. And I'll say, why the fuck should I? Because let me tell you this. If you went up to a black woman and you said, hey, look, I like to wear heels on Saturdays, she'll be like, ew, what the fuck? She'd curve you. Rightfully so. That's weird. But why is it that we're supposed to accept masculine black women when they would never accept feminine black men? They never would. So why the hell should I accept a woman that behaves like a man when she would never accept me for behaving like a woman? And this is the insane double standard where they'll sit there and say, you need to accept me the way that I come, but women never accept us the way that we come. We have to self-improve. Why don't they have to self-improve? So when they say dumb shit like that, saying, oh, you can't handle a black woman, or why don't you date them? What that really means is, why are you not dealing with the stereotypical, loud, obnoxious, crass, rude black woman? And I'm saying no, because I don't want to date myself. So if I've dated a black woman before that are polite, feminine, not fat, respectful, speak proper English, you know, they say ask instead of acts, like all these things. And that's what I like. So if I'm going to be around that, great. I don't really care about skin color like that. I have a preference. It just so happens that a lot of the times black women don't adhere to these preferences because they're indoctrinated to have this mindset of, let me challenge a man, let me be rambunctious, let me go ahead and chase a career and basically be the man that I want to get. And I'm not with that.
That's
How do
fair.
you feel? How do you feel about that, Kim?
I agree with a lot of what he said. I've said before, I don't think that just in general, we'll even speak on black women because that's who he's talking about. I don't think that black women are taught to be wives. Whereas, you know, this black woman, if she's going to college to get her degree, these white girls were taught to be wives. They were taught to look for a man to take care of them. They were taught to look for husbands. They're going to college to look for a husband. They're going to be more submissive. They're going to be more passive because they're playing the long game.
And you want to hear something crazy too? You know what's funny? The white girls be the biggest hoes. I be warning people with these college-educated white girls. Like if they join a sorority and shit like that, I tell guys all the time, like, bro, you know, you also don't want to wife up a whore. So, like, you know, what ends up happening a lot of times with black women, because black women are very narrow in what they like a lot of times. They prefer black men overwhelmingly. But the problem on the black male side is black men will take whatever, right? So that's kind of the issue where you run into a problem with a lot of black women. Also, black women tend to favor looks a lot more than other races, which is, I guess, maybe a masculine trait. But black women tend to be more interested in the way that they dress, the way they conduct themselves, you know, the way they look, etc. Like, it's very interesting how I've noticed that with black women, they tend to be the race that is very interested in the way a man looks, which is fine. You can have your preferences. But what the problem with that is it dilutes your marketplace of men that you are going to open yourself up to. And when black women go to college and they educate themselves, etc., they kind of bring that percentage down even more so as they climb up the ranks. But like with white girls, you know, you're right. They go to college. They're looking for a husband while they're there in school a lot of times, because a lot of times they don't even want to work their shitty ass, you know, HR job that they end up getting. But they end up being hoes a lot of the times, if we're going to be honest. So that's another thing that I tell guys to watch out for when it comes to the white girls, because every every group of women has their stereotypes that guys got to look out for.
Carrie,
I cannot cap. Between these two takes, Kimmy the Gemini, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. She made some valid points, because, you know, when it comes to our race, African American, you know what I'm saying, on the black side, I honestly believe that, you know, our women, the way they're raised up, depending on the mother, depending on the dad, you know, this is all, you know, hypothetical situations, but a lot of times they are not taught on how to necessarily be submissive and actually look for a husband and look for a man and that fits those traits. And at the same time, us as men, we got to step up as well. You feel me? We got to step up as well, man. We got to step up as well. I'm tired of people always blaming the women. We got to step up as well. If you got a kid, you got a girl, and you got a daughter, and you know what I'm saying, you ran out the house and you not taking care and you ain't handling your responsibility as a man, you was just as responsible too. Because one thing about that shit, your daughter is going to look up at you. If you're the father, your daughter gonna look up at you. So depending on how you treat your woman, depending on how you treat your daughter, depending on how you act around the house, if you're there, if you are an involved father, you set the standard. You set the standard. And if you're not there, guess what happens? This is what happens. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Kimmy the Gemini, she made some valid points. On God, no cap.
Carrie, what do you
He
think?
ain't lying.
Carrie, what do you think about the narrative between black, white, cultural norms, black women not necessarily being taught to look for husbands, all of that type of stuff. What do you think about everything that's being communicated in a general sense?
I agree with a lot of what he just said. I don't know if it's that women are not necessarily being taught to be wives per se,
Yeah.
as much as taught to be wives that men want. Because everybody is not taught to go be an independent woman void of a man. Like some women are genuinely taught to go marry, but they're also taught to have a career at the same time.
Correct.
They're taught to have kids, but they're taught to go get an education. So they're not taught to not be a wife, but they're also not necessarily taught to prioritize being a wife. They're not necessarily taught the characteristics that a husband that they want would actually be looking for.
So
Mhm.
let me ask
Everybody
you-
doesn't come from a broken home either. I mean, I know a lot, we say that a lot, and I'm not downing the numbers on it, but everybody doesn't come from a broken home. A lot of people have a two-parent example, but
Exactly.
they might not necessarily know how to be the
Well,
wife
I
that they
would
want
say
the husband
it's not
for.
just a black issue. It's a whole U.S. issue. The nuclear family has been destroyed, and there's a bunch of reasons for
sure.
that. You know, feminism, etc., has been, I think, one of the biggest problems when it comes to degradation of the nuclear family. But what I will say is, because you mentioned a good point that women, like, you know, they're told to go to school and pursue. And I would say, right, if someone wanted to lose weight, right, and they truly wanted to change their body, they would have to change everything about their lifestyle. They'd have to start going to sleep 8 to 10 hours a night. They'd have to prioritize going to the gym. They would have to change their entire lifestyle around to be able to achieve that goal.
Facts.
Here's the problem. We tell women that they can kind of live their life the way that they want, and there's going to be a good man at the end waiting for them. And the problem is, if you want a guy to take care of you, well, then you need to be in a position where you're prioritizing finding that guy. Because the days of, and this is kind of the conundrum of feminism, right? So what feminism effectively did was it gave women the autonomy to pursue a career, make their own money, and become successful and be on their own. But what that also did was it ostracizes the average man from the dating and relationship marketplace, because women will never admit this, but I'll say it for you guys. There's nothing worse for a woman than settling on a guy that she feels that she could do better than, right? And what ends up happening is, with a lot of average men, 5'8", making 30 to 50K per year, a lot of women see better than that in America. Even average looking women feel that they could do better than that, right? There's nothing worse than an average guy to a majority of women. So what women do is they'll go to school, they'll pursue an education, they'll become successful. And what they're hoping is that there's going to be a guy more successful, more attractive, more ambitious than her at the end of that road. But what she's effectively done, because she's become average herself or better than average, is she's just now ostracized a majority of men that would have been a great candidate for her before. But feminism has made it where women are told not to settle, become independent. But you got to ask yourself, who are they independent of? They're independent of men. We don't walk around and say, oh, we're strong and independent. You guys will laugh at us. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas? But we run around and we praise women for being independent all the time. But we don't ask ourselves, independent of who? It's of men. Of which men in particular? The majority, aka the average man. Most women are chasing the same small 10 percentile of guy. 6 foot plus, 100K per year, good career, charming, love dogs, asshole, but at the same time, you know, a nice guy. Like, they're looking for something that's very difficult to find in one guy. So when you made the topic like, hey, women are told to go, you know, get their money, but at the same time also kind of be a wife. The problem is that for the caliber of guy that they're looking for, right? Ironically enough, they need to prioritize finding a husband. But the problem is that they're pursuing a career so much that they don't have the time, and a lot of the times interest, to even pursue this guy. Like, and this is another controversial take, and I'll say this real quick, and I'd love to get the ladies' take on this. I say all the time, women lack empathy. Okay, they have sympathy, but they don't have empathy, and I'll explain what I mean by this.
Mm-hmm.
So men, we understand innately that we need to go out there and improve ourselves, make money, get some status, etc., so that we could be a catch. We understand that we're a bum working at McDonald's. We ain't getting no bitches. We accept this reality. Women, though, however, I notice, don't understand this. I'll give you an example.
You can still work at McDonald's and pull girls, though. You feel me? You can still, if you well put together and you still ambitious and you still chasing your goals and you trying to get to it, you can still pull a girl even if you're not making over $100,000 a year. I was pulling girls at one point. I didn't have no car or no job. You know what I'm saying? That's back in my younger days, but I'm just saying, like, it just ain't. It's not all about the bread, and it's not all about you know what I'm saying, the status and social and all that. It's just about being a well put together guy. Now, does the money help? Yes. Does the status help? Yes. Does the clothes help? Yes, for sure. 110%. But at the same time, you got to stop and think and really think as an individual, as a man. Okay, would she mess with me if I wasn't this great? Because if she wouldn't, if she wouldn't mess with you when, if you put it like this, if she wasn't messing with you, if you weren't over the top, if you wasn't as great as you was, why would you even give her? Why would you even allow her to come in your life? That's the thing. That's the thing that I've been thinking about. Just self reflection and just thinking about all the past relationships that I have. Like, man, if I wasn't in this position, would she even mess with me? Would she even give me a chance? Would she even talk to me? And a lot of times, nine out of 10, you would probably say no. You would probably say no. 110%, you would probably say no, fool. Cause that's the life of a man. Like, I'm at that point right now. I don't really have trouble, you know what I'm saying, pulling girls or talking to women. But at this point, like, I'm not even chasing no love, cause that love shit just fake as fuck. Love is fake to me. A motherfucker can say they love you and at the same time be doing shiesty shit behind your back and you don't even know it. And then once you start putting two and two together, you like, dang, you don't love me. You just like me at that time. You just use me for that time. You just use me to build yourself up or whatever the case may be, depending on the situation. But when it comes to love, I'm not chasing that shit. Love don't mean nothing. If anything, you should chase loyalty. You should build yourself up as a man and become the best provider as possible, but also be clear and be wary of who you accept and allow in your life, because people are fake. And that goes for both sides. That goes for men and women. No cap. That's what it is. Stop chasing love, bro. I'm telling you. That love shit on me does not matter. She telling you she love you. She telling you she love you, and she want to spend the rest of her life together. Meanwhile, she talking about she going to church to motherfucking goddamn Louisiana, and she meeting a nigga in Louisiana at church. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? You feel me? Fuck that. You better turn into a fucking savage. That's the only way you gonna survive this motherfucker.
A girl will open up an Instagram, have pictures of herself all over the internet being a thought. She'll go pursue a career. She'll do a bunch of twerking stuff on the internet. She'll wear weird weaves. She'll do all this kind of crazy stuff, right? And what'll happen is she'll do all this not knowing that, like, men, though they might look at you from an attraction standpoint, they're not actually wanting to take you seriously. And this is what I mean when I say women lack empathy. They kind of know what men
Hold up, y'all.
like, but they don't know what men are actually attracted to and want to commit to. And that's where the disconnect happens. So what's up happening is they get with a guy, they know how to kind of get the guy just by existing, but it's very difficult for them to keep the guy. And this comes from this lack of training where women are prioritizing career and not necessarily not just attracting the guy, but keeping him long term. And this is where so many women fail, because any girl can get a guy. That's not the hard part. The hard part is, can you get a guy that you actually like and get him to commit to you? And this is where women fail because they lack empathy. And what I mean by empathy is they don't understand men. We have to understand women to attract them. Women don't have to understand us to attract us, because all y'all got to do is be available, look kind of hot, and we'll come talk to you. Like, and we have to do all the work in the beginning. Well, but where women fail is they don't do the work after the guy puts in the work to attract her to retain that guy. That's where a lot of women make the mistake and aren't really able to keep the things. And this is why I'm saying, like, the education system and us women prioritizing their success has overrode their ability to retain men, if that makes sense.
What do you think about that, Mika and Molly?
Oh no, he's 100% correct. I mean, that's exactly what my father always taught me. So he's absolutely correct. And then, you know, the women, anytime, and we've talked about this tons of times on this panel, anytime the women are, you know, in a belief mindset that, you know, I have, they'll call it pick me, they'll call it, you're trying to, you know, follow the man and everything. And if you say yes, because that's literally what I was taught, then it's, you know, okay, well, it's always something bad. It's always something downtrodden. And he's gonna leave. What if he leaves? What if he does this? What if he does that? It's never looking at it from the standpoint of trying to have a family unit. Everything is a risk, right? But it seems like in today's society with feminism, if you prioritize this, then if this happens, at least you have a job, at least you have a degree, at least you have, money. It's not prioritized as it may be a risk, but at the end of the day, you may have a family.
Correct.
And here's the other thing too. I really want to bring to light what you just said, because what you just said is extremely important with the concept of calling women pick-me's, right? This is a very pernicious cycle that I've noticed in modern women, where they'll see women doing what's required to actually attract a man, like whether it's being super submissive, being super nice, listening to their man, dressing the way that their man wants, cooking for him or whatever. They're doing these like traditional roles. And I don't know what it is, but like women look at this and it's like their knee-jerk to reaction to say, oh, you're a pick-me. Oh, you're being caved in by your man. Like this girl right now is literally going viral. Emily Saves America. She's supposed to be a conservative. And she talks about, hey, well, you should probably still get a job. You should still get a hobby, blah, blah, blah. And that goes against conservatism. And that's why I say a lot of these women that are conservatives are really undercover feminists, because what they're doing is they're teaching women this pernicious cycle you just mentioned with this whole don't be a pick me or whatever, because we have an entire society that tells women, hey, don't do anything for the express consent for a man. You need to put yourself first, not knowing that if you actually want to keep a guy first, you actually have to put yourself second. Your job is the aid, the assistant, the helpmate, because when a man is put forward, when we win, you win by extension. But if we put the woman forward and the woman wins, what ends up happening is the woman's like, I don't need this nigga. Like, his job is to provide for me. I'm the one providing. This is what I tell guys all the time. You got to be the leader, and the girl's got to like you more than you like her. Because since women are the ones used to being pursued, the only time they're going to respect the man is when they're finally pursuing, because they never do that. So that's how they're able to distinguish, do I got a winner or a loser? Am I following him or is he following me? Because this whole like, I'm going to build my wife up, I'm going to move for her and her career. I tell guys, never do that. Because when you do that, what you've inadvertently done is you've given her the frame and the leadership role in the relationship. And the women will sit there and say, I want to be equal partner. What I've realized is their actions never actually reflect that. They want you to be the leader. They want you to dictate the terms. And the biggest way for that to happen is by her kind of submitting to and having this pick me thing that a lot of women use. But whenever I see women say, put it this way, ladies, if girls are calling you a pick me, you're doing something very right. Do not listen to the feminist propaganda that tries to almost like, when men insult each other and emasculate each other, like when women tell each other that, oh, you're a pick me, or you're an idiot for following a man, or you're stupid, or you could do better. That's all shaming language to keep you from having a man. One of the biggest things, and I'll end with this. God. This guy, the Truth Desire, something like that. He interviewed a divorce attorney, is the main bottom line here. And he asked the divorce attorney, she's a female divorce attorney, hey, who initiates most of the divorces and why? And she said something that I've been saying for years, and I thought it was awesome because it finally vindicated me. She said the women initiate the divorces, and a big reason why they do it is because they get talking to their girlfriends, and their girlfriends put shit in their ear. And it's back to that cycle you just mentioned with pick me, you do everything for him, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And women will see other girls happy with a guy in a good relationship, and they'll try to ruin that and be like, why are you with him? You could do better. Oh, he has sim. Oh, look, he's controlling. He's XYZ. When in reality, he's everything that she wants. But since they're not happy and they don't got what they want, because it's so much harder to find a mate for women, they'll sit there and try to tear her shit down. And that's like one of the, I tell girls, if you have a relationship, get rid of all your single friends. They're going to lead you astray.